Hey there, universe. I'm going to start at my 4dsolutions.net page. I think it's more secure rather than less, but it's been a little bit nerve wracking because they've stopped using DNS the way they used to, and it may be that I had to transfer 4D solutions from one uh, registrant to another, and I don't like those low level detail things that much. So I hope I did it right. I'll keep thinking about it. Hopefully, everything's cool. Now, where we're at with the 4D solutions, you see, that's the website, is I still, as of this recording, am alive and well and going around Portland's. I was with Coding with Kids after school program. That was a very interesting job. I helped kind of found it in Portland, you could say, just working closely with the original team here. And then I've moved to Sunshine Elite Education, in addition to teaching data analysis out of Turkey. I don't go to Turkey, I have been to Turkey. But so that's kind of my work life. And then I've got this FSI, Field Structure Institute. And I want to say that the model of the Hypertoon is what's going to help here. In other words, think of this as kind of like a roller coaster or like Elon Musky Hyperloop, right? Hyperloop. So you're riding inside in your little electromotive force vehicle. Just put your point of view in the tube and imagine that this equates to watching a movie because you're moving forward in time. You think in a theater, your chair is just sitting stationary, and that's a good thing. You don't want to have to worry about what's going to happen to you in a crowded theater. But there's a sense of moving forward in time nonetheless as the movie unfolds, edited however it is. And these segues, I'll call them, are where in a hypertune you have the option to go in different directions. And it's a smooth segue. So you may be watching this film and not realize you've just gone through 5 or 6 segues in the last 7 seconds. They're not necessarily apparent to the viewer, but this is how we can put the hypertune on a random kind of loopy play structure where it keeps coming back to the same things but somewhat randomly. As do these um, little talks I give here. These little scenarios, these little finite in time talks I give on YouTube are designed to do this, right? This kind of thing, right? Not that anyone's going to go to the work to chop them up and resort them and all, but just conceptually you can do that and realize we always do that. That's kind of what's going on, really. Hypertunes help us remember what it's like to remember the dreaminess, right? I think Greg was kind of didn't like the was too Proustian. I thought he thought my writing was. It some think it's too romantic. I'm at this point in my writing keeping it pretty dry and pretty mathematics focused. And I just wanted to show you again. You may be wanting to join one of my courses. I have one coming up, and I've got we're set to go. And this is again through Sunshine Elite. And the course is called Python for High Schoolers or Python 3 for High Schoolers and Data Structures. There's many names for this course in the folklore, you could say. But what it is really is just helping people appreciate and take advantage of the Python ecosystem in particular with regard to what I'd say is a combination of conventional and unconventional topics at the high school level in the math arena. So, like a conventional topic would be polynomials, functions, and sets. They've been probably doing that. I talk about the new math. In other words, this is a conscious document in the sense that it doesn't act like math education is static. It doesn't think that. It doesn't deny evolution. If you write a kind of preface or foreword where you think this is it forever, this is how we're always going to teach, of course, that's not true. So I'm conscious of the sweep of history as I do this. And I know that high schools at this moment in time in 2022 in North America, for example, they're not widely sharing this material. because the technology is pretty intense, even if it's open source and there's all this free stuff, it's a nice laptop that I've got here. And who wants poor people to have nice laptops? Because they wouldn't be poor people all of a sudden if they had access to all this institutional wealth, what I call institutional wealth, which is like when you walk into a big airport or something the public has paid for. You feel, this is a nice place, and in some sense, it's mine. Well, that's how school can feel, and you can have the equipment, the necessary privacy, the time to daydream and doodle, as I call it, and learn all this Python and just have fun and have real time teachers as well. I'm kind of thinking like, a small study space, a Carol. It could have simulator features, and it's not like a crowded schoolroom with lockers everywhere. That could still be there. It's not either or. It's like you could do 2 days of this because those are about sports a lot, right? Those high schools out there, they get you together and there's a gym and there's all this, and sitting in front of a screen all day is nobody's idea of health, right? So I just wanted to say conventional topics are here, but then as you see, I scroll down, I dabble more in what we mostly would call college course level stuff, but I'm calling it high school because it's not really that hard. And when you have a computer automating much of it, like doing modulo arithmetic, see, that didn't used to matter so much. There was kind of a purge of all things German in North America, at least a couple times, because of World Wars One and Two. Germany was always on the wrong side, right? So Gauss had to go, and number theory had to go, and Euclidean geometry was much more tame and came kind of trickling in and sort of filled the gap that we could now take back some of that and teach geometry more spatially, more CAD friendly. And that's what I'm doing here too. I'm getting more into 3D rendering as a normal thing for kids to do in high school level math. They have the equipment, they have the time. The life of a kid, if you want them to grow up to be, professional, knowledgeable, all these things that you hope for so that the civilization can continue, it takes time, it takes study. And a lot of kids would trade in the life they have now for something more fun and high tech and all this schooling and stuff. But it has to be done in the right way, in a respectful way, right? And it has to be more of an invitation. And I'm not going to be the man who does all the PR. So I'm just showing you more like I'm the guy who's doing more of the curriculum. And then, hey, we could use some PR for this stuff, like even just for ray tracing, for POV ray in particular. But these are free open source things, Jupyter Notebook, and nobody benefits directly by advertising for them, except indirectly they do. And I definitely promote these things without getting any direct payments. There's no advertising budget for these open source things, so to speak, not much. But by word of mouth and by YouTube and so forth, I spread the word, and that's what I'm doing with this curriculum as well. It's free open source, and it covers up to calculus. I don't avoid calculus. I just recommend in this sort of sketch that we we make data science at the very end, make data science more front and center and get to that standard normal distribution curve, histogram, and all that really sooner and do the limit on this. Sure, do circles, do sine waves, but don't forget data science probability is area under a curve, and integrating that curve there, that standard normal curve, gets you this famous S curve and vice versa. So yes, it's not easy to do as some kind of closed form, and you maybe don't want to let on that calculus can get that messy around such important curves, but that's not really obviously a major concern. It's more like we need a better integration of vocational kind of hands-on skills. You know the drill. I think all of you are kind of on the same page on that already. So talk to you some more soon.